All right, for today's video, which is number 8 in the 50 Fun Fab Fairies series drawing challenge, we are doing a mashup of two references whoosh, to create the Gorgeous Fairy Girl. However, all hell broke loose when I was making this. So the video got super long and it became this full-blown thing. So here's what I'm gonna do, because people do not come to YouTube to watch full-length, like 2-hour lessons. If you want the real-time me drawing with you, go over to awesomeartschool.com. I have all of these 10 lessons set up in a totally free classroom. It's totally free. Just go to awesomeartschool.com and check out the Fun Fab Fairies drawing challenge classroom. It's free to sign up. Everything that you need for this project, and all 10 projects are in here. Supply lists that are clickable. You have the pages that I'm working out of my book. You have clickable supply lists, all the references, everything is in real time over there. Today you're gonna be watching the time lapse because ain't nobody got time for the disaster that ensued when I was doing this project. It was hilarious. I spent more time laughing than actually drawing. So this is actually the more serious up version that you're gonna see now. I'm gonna come across as being very professional, and this is like a project that I intend to do, but the reality is a little bit different than what you're about to see today. So if you want the real time, I would go over there. But in the meantime, there's a lot you can glean just from the YouTube version, so I'm gonna shut up now and you can enjoy. Okay, so this is an awesome mashup of these two references, and I'm using them together with the guidance of my Skin Tone Secrets book. This is an awesome book because it tells you exactly which marker combinations from the Ohuhu 36 skin tone marker set go well together to make really believable skin tone combinations. So one of my students over at Awesome Art School was like, you really need to do more, skin tone variations. And I was like, yes, you're absolutely right. So I thought we could do one for the 50 Fun Fab Fairies challenge. So I'm super excited. So I wanted to show you how skin tones are actually pretty simple if you think of them as a continuing from light to dark. And here I'm showing you, these are two of my books that talk about skin tone combinations. If you think of skin tone, the scale of from like the lightest skin to the darkest skin, works exactly the same as when you are doing a gray scale. So you have like from white to black and all the shades of gray in between. And skin tones work exactly the same way when you have the lightest to darkest with all the skin tone shades of beige to brown and in between. So I was using those books as a way to show that scale is super similar. So that's for the coloring part. For the drawing part, we're going to draw an oval for the head. We draw the vertical down the center. The horizontal is across the middle of the oval. That's the eye line. And I'm using my ellipse template to do 3 ovals or ellipses across for the eyes. Having the third one in the center is super important. I'm using the ovals and the ellipses for the nose and the lips as well. It all comes from the same template. If you want the link to that, it's in that free classroom that I was referencing before. So I'm using the light skin girl to inform how I'm doing the hairstyle and her ears. And I'm using the dark skin reference for the skin tone and the facial features. So it really is like a true mashup. And using true photos in this way and combining them is such an awesome way to make art that is entirely your own. So I highly recommend it. Both of those are, I think they're both copyright free anyways to begin with. But if you're feeling insecure about using a reference photo because it's not copyright free, mash it up with a few other references and you will create your own true work of art. And then you don't have to worry about copyright infringement as long as you're changing it up a ton. But using the second reference is what allows you and what inspires your creativity in order to do that. So it's super like a little cheat way to do that. I'm using my, after everything is drawn in pencil, I outline everything in my favorite fine liners, which are by Molotow. I love this set. I think there's 11 pens in the set, and the nib size varies from like super tiny to like 1 millimeter. So I always start with a bigger nib for the hair outline of the face. And then I slowly work my way smaller and smaller and smaller nibs when I do like the facial features, and I kind of get smaller and smaller. So again, you can hear all the specifics of the nib sizes as I'm using them in the real-time version of this project. So once everything is drawn in, forgot our eyebrows, so I'm quick drawing those in. Once everything is in, you'll see me erasing all of the graphite. That's what I'm doing now. That's a vanish eraser. I buy those at Jerry's. They're just kind of amazing, really. You can buy them on Amazon. They're actually really expensive on Amazon. But graphite will it'll super bleed when you add the alcohol markers. So I always make sure to erase them really, really well. So I've chosen my 3 shades, of the skin tone, which are all from the 36 Ohuhu marker pack. I love the chisel brush nib combination. Again, I'm using a skin tone combination from my Skin Tone Secrets marker edition book that's also available on Amazon. And right at the beginning of this video, when I'm showing that skin tone range of kind of beiges and browns, that is from my Learn to Draw Art Deco Style Volume 1 book, which goes in depth about skin tones in there as well. So here, I'm already laughing because I know how this project is going to go. So on the first layer, you do 1 coat and you coat it over the entire face. Okay. Everything gets done. The second color, you have to pay attention to where the shading lies in the face. Now I'm laughing because I purposefully chose 3 colors, always 3, at least 3 colors that had a high contrast. So a high contrast is colors that like are different from one another. So you can have 3 colors that are so closely related, it's like seamless. But if you have a high contrasting colors that match, it's like having very different shades is basically what this is. So I basically got myself into this like whole boatload of trouble by doing this, as you'll surely see. So this is the best though example of an ugly stage, actually. So like I'm dying as I'm doing this because look at her face right now. Like, are you serious? Are you even serious? Like, who wouldn't want to chuck this girl in the bin right now? She looks absolutely ridiculous. And even myself, after doing this projects like this 100 million times, I get to a point where I'm like, oh shit, like, is this gonna work? Even though I know it will. Anyways, that's super normal. You have to keep going, okay? That ugly face will win every freaking time if you let it. So do not let the ugly face win. So how am I going to win? Well, I'm going to win this freaking drawing by doing more layers. More layers and keeping going is always the answer. That is always the solution, okay? Do not let the ugly face win. It will win every time if you freaking let it. Okay, so keep going. So what did I do? First thing I did to rectify this was I did another layer of the lightest shade over the entire face again. That's what I'm doing it. This is the 3rd coat of that shade, because every time you add the lightest shade, you are helping to blend those colors together. Okay. So that's 3 shades of light. I also went in with this is a 4th darkest shade. I also went in with shade number 2 and I made those areas larger. This is the lightest shade for layer number 5. Okay, I keep going back with that lightest shade over and over and over again. Alcohol markers are like paint, and you're re-wetting all the layers and all the pigments underneath them if you move quickly enough and you add layers. So I'm literally staying within the 3 colors and I'm alternating them one after another, and I'm taking turns and I'm letting those pigments blend on the paper. That's why you can't use watercolor paper when you use alcohol markers, and you have to use something like Bristol or something that's really non-porous that won't soak in the pigments. You need those pigments to stay up on the surface of the paper so that when you re-wet them with additional layers, they'll blend. Okay, that's like humongous. Okay, so I'm giving the face a break and I went and I colored in the eyes. Okay, I just did 2 colors for the eyes. I just did a light green on the bottom, and I did a darker shade on the top. Now I'm using gray, and I put gray all everywhere in the eye except for a little bit of whites. Okay. So it's really the white of your eyes is like barely any of it is actually white. So if you notice, you can see gray over the whole thing. So I let my paper take a little bit of a nap. It had a little bit of a workout. This is an in-between shade that I am drawing with right now. So remember before I had 3 shades? This is a shade between number 1 and 2. Okay. And if you go to the free classroom, you can see exactly what shades I am using and the exact numbers and the markers that I'm using. So because after all those layers, I still wasn't happy with the blending. So this in between shade is like bridging the gap between those. Remember, I was saying how high contrast they are. It was too high contrast. It wasn't like coming together. So never freak out because that doesn't give you anywhere. You have to just keep working at it. So if the difference between marker 1 and 2 is too great, find a 1.5. And that's what I did. I went and I found a 1.5 and I put it in between the places. It's actually like super systematic. All right. So now I'm choosing 3 shades for her hair. So I have a super light purple, a medium purple, and a dark purple. Pretty much every single project, no matter if I'm doing a face or a flower or a house or a landscape, is always 3 shades. That's how you get dimension. So this is the 3rd shade. And then if you want to go ahead and do more, like if you need a 1.5, well, maybe you need a 4. I remember I did like that 4 darker shading on her face. That's always a possibility too. But at least having the 1, 2, and 3 set up from the get-go gives you like the parameters that you kind of know that you're working with. But every part of this struggled. Like the number 4 I chose for her hair was like in a different color family. And I was like, oh, oops. Well, here we go. So same thing with her lips. All right. I'm using my super favorite pen in the whole wide world right now, which is called the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. And I use it in all of my drawings like that I've ever done in my whole life. And I love it so much. Now, her eyes were uneven. So as you can see, I'm kind of flipping from one side to the other to get them evened off. So she ends up with this glamorous eye makeup. That's cool. Whatever. I had to like figure it out. And I love her anyways. So sometimes you just have to run with things. That's fine. So this is where all hell broke loose. And even in the real-time videos that my mic stopped working, it was just like one thing after another. So I was touting in the real-time version that you cannot dispense. This is a Sharpie paint pen. Look at this. This is a disaster right now. This is a disaster happening. You can't dispense it on your face because it will explode. And that's exactly what happened. So then I was using a wipe to get the extra. And then that was like eating through the paper. And I'm just dying laughing because I'm like, it is ridiculous. Because I'm like on the home stretch, I have like 1 more minute of arting and it's like all hell broke totally loose. But it's such a great learning opportunity because things like this happen all the time, you guys. Like this is like every art project. This isn't just this random one and I had bad luck with it. Like this kind of stuff actually happens to me all the time. It's how you react to it and how you fixed the errors. But it's fine. It's not a reason to freak out. It's not a reason to quit. It's nothing. You just have to be like, all right, now let's put our heads together, my friends. And how do we fix this schnizzle that we just got ourselves into? Like, let's do it. So I just feel like it's always like challenge accepted, but it's really important to have that mindset because these pieces of art will destroy you, especially if you get 99% of the way through a project and then you screw up. Like that for sure can get you down. I get it. Anyways, I'm messing around with highlights. I decided to go like full tilt because why the hell not at this point. So I'm using a combination of Copic opaque white and China marker to add the latest details. Click to subscribe if you want more freaking fairy fun, and also click the playlist if you want to catch up on all the other videos. And thank you so much for being here and for watching.